Have you ever had to leave a country a little before you would like to because your visa was running out? Well, you are in the right place because today I am sharing all of the research I have found about which countries are beginning to offer digital nomad visas. And stay till the end where I will share which up-and-coming country might just be the most accessible yet. I'm Taylor Gill, a work and travel lifestyle coach. I teach remote professionals how to live the work anywhere, live everywhere lifestyle. And today I am sharing which countries are offering digital nomad visas. So before we get into that, let's talk about what is a digital nomad visa. Well, typically nomads travel and enter countries on tourist visas, sometimes work visas, but most often tourist visas. So depending on the country and your passport, that's anywhere from 30 to 90 days typically. What digital nomad visas are is a new special category that governments are creating to allow people who work remotely and are financially stable to stay in their country for up to 12 months or 1 year. So this is really great if, as a nomad, you like to move around, but you really like to do it a little bit more slow. So I have known about digital nomad visas for a while, just being in the space, you know about them. Estonia was like the first one to really get on the map with their e-residency, and that kind of got a lot of people chattering and talking. But I've never really done any research. So I recently got curious, dived into them, and I am sharing that with you today. I'm also sharing this as a standpoint of someone who's a non-EU resident. So if you are an EU resident, your options might look a little bit different for some of these countries. So one of the most common requirements between all of the countries and the digital nomad visa is that you either have to show proof of a contract with a company abroad, not in that country. You have to show proof of your own online business, or in some cases, they also accept freelancers as long as the majority of your clients and work do not revolve around that country either. So they're really interested in bringing in people who work remotely or do their job in other countries mainly, but they're allowing you to come in and stay for a longer period of time. So just know that going in, they're not interested in people coming to their country and getting a job there. They really want you to already have your work outside of that country, but they're just going to allow you to come in and work remotely from there. The first country I want to talk about is Estonia. So I said they made some waves pretty early on with their e-residency, but they've now also introduced a digital nomad visa. So as of August 1st, 2020, they began accepting applications, which is really exciting. So what is their requirements and how do you apply for the Estonia visa? Note, I have a lot of notes that I want to share with you. So if you see me reading, I am just making sure that I'm getting this information correct. Okay, so the digital nomad visa for Estonia will allow you to stay in the country for up to 12 months. Again, assuming that you have a contract with a different company abroad or you own a company outside of Estonia. And you also have to show evidence of at least 3,500 euros per month for the last 6 months prior. So translate that into your own currency, but that is a minimum amount that you have to make per month to be qualified for this visa. The application process is pretty easy. There's an online application. You fill that out, print it, sign it, and then make an appointment with the nearest Estonia consulate or embassy, and you submit your application that way, along with any other supporting documents. And then they turn around and make decisions within 30 days. So it's not too bad. It's pretty easy. The fee for the application is either 80 euros or 100 euros, just depending on if you're doing the short-term visa or long-term visa stay. There's a little bit difference in those. So somewhere around 100 euros is what you're going to pay for the application fee. And then the other thing that you really want to double check on is any COVID-19 travel restrictions. So some of these countries, although they want to invite nomads in, that's partly why they've created these visa schemes, they still have some COVID-19 travel restrictions. So you'll want to do your due diligence and check those out before you make any plans. Following right on the heels of Estonia was the country of Georgia. And they also, in August 2020, released a new visa project called Remotely with Georgia, and is geared towards, again, digital nomads. So it's open to freelancers, location-independent business owners, or remote workers who, again, do business mainly outside the country of Georgia. Now, the main requirements for qualifying for this visa are that I just mentioned, your remote work status. You also must prove financial ability to pay taxes while you are in Georgia. You must earn at least 2,000 USD per month. Obtain travel insurance valid for 6 months, in which case I use Safetywing. That is my travel medical insurance of choice, but there are a lot of options out there. And you do have to be from one of the 95 countries and residents that could previously enter Georgia visa free. So you can go to the Georgia website, government website, and figure out what one of those 95 countries are. But if you were from one of them, then you can apply for this visa. Now, the other thing, again, they do have some travel restrictions, and so you may have to undergo mandatory quarantine upon arrival. It just depends on your vaccination status. But travel restrictions for COVID are changing all the time, so just be sure you check those out before you make any plans. Now, how to apply is even easier than Estonia. There's an online application, you submit it, and they review them within 10 days. So it can be done pretty quickly, and it is really cool country. It's actually really like one that nomads are starting to talk about a lot more just because of what it actually offers. And so this might be a really cool place that you can live for a short, extended a period of time. Now, another country that you might want to consider is Portugal. And while they don't offer a digital nomad visa per se or scheme, they do offer a temporary resident visa and residence permit for independent workers and entrepreneurs. And you can get this for up to 1 year, and you can renew it for up to 5 years. So if you just fall in love with Portugal, it might actually be a really great location where you can get sort of an extended visa to stay. And with the recent launch of the Digital Nomad Village, they're really gearing themselves up to bring digital nomads into the country. So the basic requirements for the temporary resident visa are proof of income from either a property, business ownership, or other financial means. You must earn at least 635 euros per month, have proof of private travel health insurance. Again, I use Safetywing for my travel insurance. And you must submit a criminal background check. So not too involved. There is an online application, so you just have to gather all your required documents, complete the application, and then make an appointment at the nearest Portuguese consulate or embassy. The fee for the application is 83 euros for the visa fee and 72 euros for a resident permit fee. So depending on which one you're applying for, there is, under 100 euro visa application fee for either of those. Now, if you are not interested in hanging out in Europe at all, totally fine. You can still find some digital nomad visas out there. So one of them is the city of Dubai in the United Arab Emirates. And they just launched their own work remotely from Dubai visa scheme in October of 2020. So it's valid for up to 1 year, and the requirements for this visa are to have proof of employment with an employer with at least a 1-year contract or proof of ownership of a company. So if you're a freelancer, it might be a little bit harder to get this visa unless you can show like a long-term contract. You must show proof of a minimum 5,000 USD per month salary, have last month's payslip and 3 preceding months bank statements. So you have to show proof of that for at least up to 3 months prior, and health insurance with UAE coverage. Now, for the application process, there is an online application, and their website just said that the total cost to apply would be $611 US, but that includes application fees, processing cost, medical, and an Emirates ID. So you get a handful of things with that, and then also as a someone on this visa, you'll get access to everything the residents do in terms of like internet and utilities and things like that. So Dubai might be a really cool place that you want to spend an extended period of time. Okay, and the last country that looks pretty promising is Mexico. So again, kind of like Portugal, they don't have a true digital nomad visa, but they do offer a temporary resident visa that is good for 1 year and can be renewed for another 3 years. So Mexico is already a popular digital nomad destination because you can actually get a tourist visa for up to 6 months, which is, you know, not that normal. It's pretty long compared to a lot of other countries. So you can already stay for 6 months, but if you really want to stay for 1 to 3 years, you might want to consider the temporary resident visa. So the requirements for this visa are that you own a location-independent business or you work remotely for a company based outside of Mexico. You earn at least $1,620 US per month, or have a bank balance of $27,000. So you either have to show consistent income or already have like a large bank account for the financial proof of the visa. So as far as applying, you just need to gather all of your proof of documents, complete the online application. There's a $44 fee, and then you'll make an appointment at your nearest Mexican consulate to actually apply. And at the top, I shared there is one country that might be the most accessible yet, and that is Romania. So they haven't actually announced any sort of a visa project yet, but legislation is being drawn up, and the reports that are out there all pretty much say the same thing. So we can expect that this visa will be coming about fairly soon, most likely in 2021. So the requirements that are being reported, so again, this could change as legislation actually passes, but what's being reported now is that you are employed by a foreign firm or offer services through a cell phone company not based in Romania. Show proof of 1,100 euros a month for the previous 6 months before applying, proof of health insurance while in Romania, and proof of no criminal record. So of all of the financial proofs that you have to show for a lot of these visas, this is one that's going to be a little bit lower, especially for the European sites. So that's why I say it's might be more accessible to a lot of nomads, especially if you don't, make a large income. That's okay. You don't have to be able to nomad. So Romania might be a really great option. It's really known as like a up-and-coming tech hub, and so definitely has a lot to offer. So there are other countries that are in the talks of potentially offering digital nomad visa in the future, such as Greece. That is one of them. So just be sure to kind of keep your ear to the internet, see what is happening, because although a lot of these countries are doing it in response to COVID and losing a lot of their tourism, I do think that countries are beginning to sort of catch up to the modern way that people work and travel, and will begin to start introducing their own legislation and different visa schemes that kind of work with the modern remote work movement. So as always, if you are planning any travel, just always check your travel restrictions. It's in your best interest to do your due diligence before planning any travel. And if you are not fully remote yet, but you are interested in finding a remote job so that you can maybe apply for one of these visas, check out my course, Finally Fully Remote. I'll put a link in the description below. It walks you through the whole process of finding and landing your first or maybe next remote job. And if you liked this video, be sure to subscribe and hit that little bell so that you don't hit future publications. Thanks for hanging out with me and learning more about which countries are opening up to digital nomads with their own visa scheme. I am Traveling Taylor, and I will see you next week.